Yeah, I think I was considered to be reasonably talented, I think, at football. Winning association medals that I had no idea of what I was winning. I'm Bowden Jaworski. I'm from the class of '63. I was at St Paul's on the very first day it took students. I think fundamentally there was a respect, a deep respect for each other and who we were as individuals. Working in with each other regardless of race, colour or creed, that was an important ingredient in the bonding. One of the things that the Christian Brothers were known for was the discipline. If you wanted to extend yourself to the limits of your abilities, you needed to be disciplined and committed. It became natural to take that with us in our endeavours in sport and also in our endeavours in work.
I am the owner of Floral Image. It's a corporate flower rental business. We trade in 25 countries around the world, 90 cities on the ground. My name is Ben Trussell. I finished at St Paul's in 1989. We were taught Australian history a lot. It was a big part of our curriculum. A lot of egalitarian values at St Paul's about Edmund Rice and just the values of the Irish upbringing, and we had a lot of big families at St Paul's, so lots of sharing, and the school environment and the teachers and your friends and parents, everyone just had that sense that no one was better than anybody else. And once you're brought up in that environment of that real egalitarian, just looking after each other, I feel like our business is successful today in so many countries based on that model.
My name's Michael O'Connell. I'm the retired Commissioner for Victims' Rights in South Australia, and I attended St Paul's College between 1972 and 1976. That set me on a path of studying victimology at university and ultimately becoming this state and indeed Australia's first Commissioner for Victims' Rights. While I was a student at St Paul's, I learnt some important virtues. Dignity in terms of every human being matters. Humility. I try to ensure that when people are doing the best that they can, that we recognise that. And empathy. If you've got a true appreciation and that you can ensure that what you offer actually meets their needs, and that's extremely important. The school motto at the time when I went to St Paul's was "Fight the Good Fight." So fighting a good fight for victims' rights and victim assistance has been a major drive in what I've tried to achieve.
I'm an associate professor at the University of South Australia. I graduated from St Paul's in 1994 before studying physics at the University of South Australia, and have been working as a research scientist as an associate professor in biophysics. I've been very fortunate in my job being able to work in many different countries, from using particle accelerators in the US to Peru for archaeological digs studying the Incan mummies. One of the highlights of my research has been my studies into the poisoning of Phar Lap, where we took some of his hair to look for evidence of arsenic poisoning. So absolute fundamental and critical to my work has been integrity and the social conscience. And St Paul's played a big part in that. Certa bonum certimen was the motto, fight the good fight, and fundamental to that was the integrity and the social conscience, which is also the core values of the University of South Australia and critical to my work.
Since attending St Paul's, I completed a Masters of International Studies, and I've been working in international development and international policy in countries such as Mongolia and Kiribati for the last 10 years. It can be very challenging sometimes, but it's amazingly rewarding. It's so great to see the outcomes when you work really hard and to see changes being made, and to make a difference feels really good. My name is Andrew Antonucci. I'm from the class of 2000. From a very early age in my time at St Paul's, the value of service was really important. It was driven home not only in chapel, not only in religious education, but also in school. The school always provided opportunities to help out. It was as simple as being a monitor on the road outside at the school crossing, or going to the local nursing home to do some voluntary work during Year 10. Those kinds of experiences instilled a message of service, which I carried on with me throughout my life beyond St Paul's.
Really, St Paul's laid the foundation for my career as a soldier and as a citizen. In my service in Timor, in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, Fight the Good Fight was my moral compass, and the values that I learnt from my fellow students, from the teachers, from the parents of courage, teamwork, initiative, they served me well.
I am here at the Plympton Parish on the Anzac Highway. I've been here 8 years. Prior to that, I was in the Cathedral of St Francis Xavier's. I became the Judicial Vicar of the Archdiocese of Adelaide. So I ran the church's law department for a number of years. I'm Father Kevin Taylor, class of 1973. St Paul's in 73 was a growing school. It was still very much so a school with a strong presence of the brothers. One of the things that stood out to me was the witness of the brothers to their community life, their prayer life, and that really inspired me to look a bit at the life of Edmund Ignatius Rice, the founder of the Christian Brothers. And so when I left school, I actually entered the religious life as a Christian brother. So the brothers hold a very special place in my heart. The spirit of Edmund Rice and his vision is something that was very much so lived out at St Paul's. His vision of making education available to every child. He went to the poorest of the poor to give them an education and an opportunity in life. One of the great things of St Paul's was that it gave everybody an equal opportunity, an equal start in life. But it wasn't just about learning from books. It was the education and the formation of you as a person. The values that the school tried to impart, it was reinforcing the values that were given at home. Those are the values that I've been able to carry through life. They're those principles of Edmund Rice that have touched my life, that make me, and in a sense, engage me in the work that I do here. They're the values that I want to pass on to the youth of today in this parish.
Working as a barrister is a huge responsibility, but it's an enormous privilege to be able to stand up in court and speak on behalf of someone who can't do that. I'm Anthony Crocker. I'm from the class of 1978. One of the great things about the work that I'm able to do is I've got a really general practice. I'm able to combine my interest with the law with my interest with sports law, and in particular cricket. People who find themselves reported in first-class cricket potentially come before me. St Paul's has had a lot of impact on my life values, I'm sure of that. I was really lucky to have teachers who encouraged me to be curious and inquisitive and to learn simply for the sake of learning and acquiring knowledge and information. The value in having a social conscience, a sense of social justice. And I've been lucky in the work that I have done that I've been able to put that into practice in some small way.
So in 2013 I was Australian Young Chef of the Year. My name is Stuart Weston. I'm the class of 2005. I'm a chef and restaurateur here in Adelaide. Now I own Whistle and Flute Cafe in Unley and the Port Admiral Hotel in Port Adelaide. One of the big values I took away from my time at St Paul's was the respect for other people. Really translates really well into the business that I'm in now. Respecting employees, respecting customers. For me, our employees are the link between us and the customer, and if we treat them right and they come to work in a happy, sort of safe environment, just really shows in their work. It's something that I like to bring into all my businesses.
60 years ago when I went to St Paul's, we were setting out establishing a legacy for the school. And even though we didn't know it then, all the things we had to do for each other in that community of looking out for each other, fighting the good fight and everything we did, being self-sufficient, we had to be independent. We had to build a tremendously strong community of students and teachers and parents and stand up for each other. And in those years, I established a very firm set of values and a way of doing things in my life, how to fight the good fight. And I can say for absolute certain that St. Paul's has had a tremendously positive influence on my family, on my career, and my involvement in the community. I have a lot to thank St. Paul's for.
Damien Woodard's class of 1982. Class clown, yeah. Also, about 1980, started doing impressions. I don't know, we had a few sort of teachers that were characters, you could say. St. Paul's did provide me with some, I suppose, early opportunities to develop performance skills. And that sort of helped me with a career in the arts. I'm still involved in media studies. I'm still making films. Not only a career in comedy, but also done some television appearances like Blue Heelers, Neighbours and Australia's Most Wanted, back when it was a dating show.
Now that's another story.
Probably one of the most influential brothers was Brother Fox. Just the manner in which he imparted his sort of life skills onto us in Year 9, just to treat, you know, people as you would like to be treated. I think that was probably, you know, one of the things that influenced me.
My family is from South Sudan. I was born in a refugee camp just outside Kenya. Riak Mel, class of 2017, college captain. Right now I'm studying at Adelaide University. I'm studying the Bachelor of International Relations and Law. I picked law and international relations because I just wanted to give back to my community and see what I can do immigration-wise, like the refugees. I'm also taking the role of trying to become a professional football player. Last year I was approached by a soccer scout. This person told me there was opportunities down in Europe. So last year in October I went there, played good games there, and more scouts saw me from professional teams. So right now I got a couple teams, a couple options down in Italy and maybe Slovenia as well. So very excited. It's going to be tough. The people at St. Paul's had a major influence on me. The opportunities they offered me was there were a lot, especially last year, where I was given the privilege to be the college captain by Mr. Belton. I've learned a lot more about myself. I see myself now as someone that's a big role model, like to the little kids back there still in St. Paul's. Most of the staff there, towards the end of my senior year, they've become more friends than just teachers. In a way, they shaped the person I've become today. The values that I value most is just being true to myself, being true to others, and just trying to enjoy things while they last.
My name is Connor O'Neill. I'm the current college vice captain here and I'm studying Year 12 at the moment. When I finish school I'd like to study law and politics at university. The teachers here have been wonderful. I think you'd struggle to find a better group of people anywhere else, so I think that's what makes this place such a great place to come. Probably the most important value here is the diversity. That's seen in the yard with people from so many different backgrounds, and I think that shows how far Australia's come as one of the most multicultural nations in the world. Because I want to do law and politics, I think that's a good way I can stand up for others, so advocating for the marginalised, and that's something I'm really passionate about. In 10 years' time, I probably hope to be in politics or working in that sort of field, possibly as an advisor, maybe even a lawyer, so the possibilities are endless.
I'm Ben Crosley from the class of 2007. I just wanted to say that working on this project has been a really interesting and unique experience for me. Through tracking down and interviewing these old scholars with Kelly, it's really given me a greater appreciation of the huge impact the school's had on people, including myself, and that just makes me feel proud to have been a student at St. Paul's College.